So you'll notice there that I didn't play any obvious dominant seventh chords or bluesy type chords. I did something a little bit different. Or maybe you didn't notice, but I'm about to tell you. So what I was doing there was I was playing this chord for my A7 chord. I was playing this chord for my D7 chord. And this chord for my E7 chord. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Alternatives to playing just dominant seventh chords. So what is this chord? This chord is a minor 7 flat 5 chord. Or is it? Okay. Now, I'm saying that because in this context, I'm not actually playing it as a minor 7 flat 5 chord. But that's kind of what it is. So what's going on? Right. This is, if I played this on its own, you would say it was a D flat, minor 7 flat 5 chord. Okay? You'll hear this chord a lot in jazz, sometimes called a half diminished chord. So the spelling of the chord is 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7. Half diminished chord. Now, this works really well instead of this chord. Because if we think about it, if I put that note on the bottom of it, that A note on the bottom of it, look at, you can start seeing this A7 chord here. Yeah? And I've got this note in, and this note I've added in. So let's look what they are. So this note is 2 frets up from the A. So that's a 9 or a 2, it's the same thing. And this one is my 5th. So what I've done is, I'm really playing an A9 chord without a root on. All right? So this, in this context, is a rootless A9 chord. And that's why it works. So I'm not really playing a D flat minor, let's get it right, a D flat minor 7 flat 5 chord. Bit of a mouthful, these chords at times. I'm really playing an A9 chord, but I'm not playing the root. And often the bass player is playing the root anyway, so I don't need to. So that works really well. And then I'm just doing major blues type stuff over the top of it. If you watch some of my other videos, that will give you some ideas what I'm doing there. I'm not going to go over that right now. Let's just stick to the chords for this. Now over the D, okay, I've got a problem because if I do this over, if I just move everything down, like you often do in the blues, right, and do this, this is now not longer a minor 7 flat 5 chord. It's not half diminished. It's now fully diminished. Why? Because the B string is tuned differently, yeah? So instead of getting a 2 over the top of it, I'm getting a flat 2 over the top of it. Now that's going to sound a little bit ouch, right? It might sound all right in certain places, but over the 4 chord, I don't want that. I want a D9 chord. So instead of doing this, I need to do this, all right? Now that makes it a rootless D9 chord now, because I could put that, because you might recognize that as a D9 chord there, yeah? Because there's my D. And there's my 9 there, or 2. So this is a rootless D9 chord. So I've got my A9 chord here, and then I've got my rootless D9 chord there. By the same token, if I want my E chord, I'm just going to do this. So I've got a rootless E9 chord, a rootless D9 chord, and a rootless A9 chord. Now those are really cool chords to play in the blues. Now, you don't have to do them all in the same progression. You could do, for example, your A7. You might want to do it like that, or you could like that, or there's lots of different ways of doing it. Let's go into that now. So you've got A7. So you just go to your D9 there. Yeah, so you play a normal A7 and then a D9. Or you could play your rootless A9 and then go to a normal D7 there. Yeah, so you can mix and match these however you want. And these chords are a little bit more tasty, they're a little bit more spicy, they'll add a lot more interest to your blues playing. And also it won't be as boring because, let's face it, we don't want to keep playing dominant seventh chords all the time in a blues. We want to be doing other things, and we often hear these players playing really cool chords and wondering what they are and how they all fit. Now, a lot of these are stolen from the jazz world. You know, it's definitely worth looking into a bit of jazz with your blues to make your blues a bit more interesting. So have fun with that, enjoy, and please subscribe.